Well, hello, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm not very good with computers, as you're about to find out. Welcome to, I guess, the official, formal debut of my project, Pano. I kind of shadow dropped this a little bit after Dustin's excellent presentation last month with his awesome data science, computer vision work. We've been talking the last couple of months, and those conversations plus like some other conversations in the mesh kind of led to the creation of this project. Let's sort of just jump right into it before my computer crashes again, I guess. So here's the motivation. Basically, NYC Mesh takes photos of things. We ask our members to take photos of things. What are these things? Usually they are panoramic images of the sky on your roof, as I demonstrated down here. They look like this, roughly, usually. We ask them to send them to us so that we can figure out lines of sight to our various hubs, other installs, figure out what we're dealing with before we actually send somebody to schlep a bunch of equipment up onto their roof, only to find out, oops, they're actually blocked by, 3 different buildings and can't connect anywhere. So we asked them to send panoramas. In addition to that, we also asked our volunteers to take photos of the installs that they do for documentation purposes, right? It's good to know, like, if you need to go do service somewhere, right? Like, it's nice to know, like, okay, let's say that you install like an antenna and then there's not good signal, but there's this like sewer pipe over there that maybe you could move the antenna and then get better signal, right? It's good to document these kinds of things. Again, so you don't have to waste time actually going there to figure it out. So that's like sort of the need, right? And we don't really have any kind of like proper image hosting solution to enable this. We have a few things that like we've managed to build to serve like sort of this baseline need of like when people send us photos, we have a way to like put them somewhere and then serve them on like the map and look at them. But they're a bit limited because they require special access to actually upload images, and they are difficult to like store and retrieve photos just kind of like at will with. And I'll sort of get into the flow and explain why. But you see here an example of like image submission. For those of you who know what GitHub is, this might be a little concerning. And then here's image retrieval. Hey, does anybody have that one image of that one thing that one time? Oh yeah, dude, I got it. Thanks. This is like a 1% occurrence. It's like most of the time it's difficult to find old photos of installs. Like people's Google Drive fills up or their Google Photos fills up, right? They get buried in Slack because they just show up in Slack and then they get buried. You have people often at the end of like services, right? They're like, hey, if you can add an install photo to this thread here, that'd be great. But they still get buried. It's very difficult to search for them sometimes. So that's kind of the problem. That's the motivation. Here are some requirements that I had typed up about 10 minutes ago, sort of explaining what I want to actually do with computers. So I want to enable volunteers, that's us, people who are actually boots on the ground on roofs, to upload images and link them to installs and nodes. Installs and nodes are distinct objects in our sort of mesh data model, right? If you go to MeshDB, there is the concept of an install and a concept of a node, and I want to very easily and like durably link a photograph to one of those things. I want to make it then easy for humans to find these images related to an installer node. So that involves making a nice like user interface, a nice website that you can go to and be like, hi, I want to know the panoramas from network number 713. That's SN3 for those of you not familiar. And I want to see all those panoramas. So there's that. I want to enable robots to query and use image data. Shout out to Dustin. I want an API so that you can give it an install number and be like, give me every photo that is related to this install number. That's panoramas, install photos, etc. Ideally, I want this to be self-hosted. Right now, as you may have seen in the previous screenshot, our photos are hosted on GitHub. They're in a big GitHub repository. There are, I don't know, Olivier's not here, but there's probably about 16,000 photos, totaling Yeah, it's not even using GitLF. I don't know how this is possible. It's like more than 10 gigabytes, but less than a terabyte of image data in a Google or in a GitHub repo. So that's not great. So I want it to be self-hosted because, we're the mesh, right? We have infrastructure. We have all these great people building all these great things, and we want to be self-sufficient, right? We don't want to rely on like a corporation to, out of their grace, right, to like let us host all this stuff. So ideally, we'd like to host this ourselves durably. Stretch goal, enable like, new members who are signing up to just upload panoramas automatically. I'll get into that in a minute. Other stretch goal, centralized hosting of like these install photos, right? Take all those photos out of Slack and like put them into some centralized database to query them by. And then, okay, this is just scope creep, but like it would be really cool if we had a robot that could like crawl our Slack and like automatically be like, hey, it looks like you uploaded a photo and I see the word NN387 in this thread. Would you like to upload it to Pano? And then you just click a button and it does it. That'd be cool. But that's scope creep for now. So here's the current flow. So the member fills out the join form. So, they fill out the join form, give us their info. That creates a ticket in OS ticket, which sends an email to them. It's like, hey, can you please send us some panoramas of your roof? Here's what we're looking for. Please just attach them in the email and we'll get back to you. So they do that. And then a human has to log into OS ticket, pull them out of the OS ticket, and then put them on GitHub, right? So all of this requires special accounts. All of this requires like multiple steps. It's like at least like 5 minutes of somebody's time for every single install request. And thank God we have somebody who's willing to do this. Their name is Olivier. I love them. And that's like the flow. But it's like you have to be somebody who like knows about this and who has all these accounts in order to like ingest image data into our systems, which is kind of not great. And then you have to wait an hour, maybe a little longer, for them to show up in MeshDB and or the map once they are uploaded to GitHub. I say question mark because I don't know the exact number here, even though I did build MeshDB, but don't worry about it. Asterisk here, this can be flaky and has known bugs, not just bugs with like uploading, but like data correctness issues, right? Like random panoramas will show up on like install number XYZ because actually it was supposed to be network number XYZ, but nobody ever actually distinguished to the robots, hey, this is supposed to be network number XYZ and not install. So anyway, there's like photos that are in places that shouldn't be in place. It's a kind of a mess. So that's not great. Enter Pano. This is a screenshot that I took about 5 minutes ago. That is my awesome user interface. I got a demo later, but here's what it looks like. Basically, it's just put photos into the web portal, get photos out of the web portal. Bare bones, basic, easy. There's also an API if you're a robot and you want to see photos. So there's that. Here's some cool features. So we have an NYCmesh.net email login. I integrated with Google Auth, like a Google OAuth, to actually authenticate people against Pano to let them upload photos. This is great because the NYCmesh.net email is like a relatively easy thing to get. And with Google, we can like authenticate against not just Pano, but like other services in the future. So it's like if you have an NYC Mesh email, you're probably somebody who like comes around a lot and who like has business uploading data to our systems. So Google Auth, it's great. It was super easy to set up, and we don't have to think about it. It's very secure because it's Google and not our like self-hosted, whatever. So that's great. Auth is like one of those things that's just very difficult to get right. So it's awesome to be able to just kind of pass that along. We also have an upload portal, like I mentioned, so you can take photos and then just upload them, tag them with like install number, network number. You can query, API access, and it's fully self-hosted on the mesh, except for the Google part. But all this other stuff is self-hosted. So this is our existing like JavaScript front end. This is a Python API. This is MinIO. It's basically an implementation of S3 that you can host yourself. This is just a Postgres database to back this API. And then we have MeshDB, of course. So that's awesome. I'm now going to show y'all what this looks like. I was trying to get this set up like a version for people to like play with. That's coming. I'm working on it. It's a whole thing. Computers are hard. So here's sort of the UI. We've got the option to query by install number or network number. You can then query and get images, and then you can view the images. Pretty great. This is like this is like not, I guess, huge for, you know, we already have this ability to like view this based on like the Mac, but it's difficult to be like explicit, like, no, I want NN713, I don't want install number, whatever. And like I mentioned, there are data correctness issues. So if an image is supposed to be associated with one install, but it's actually showing up on the map as some other node, that can happen. And it's difficult to like sort of distinguish that on the map. So anyway, this interface is great because you can just kind of, you know, see what you want to see, which is awesome. You can then edit the image. You can like upload a new one. Like, so let's say you upload one, you're like, oh, I don't want that one, I can upload another one. You can also download these images as well. They're just hosted, like when you query Pano, it gives you back this list of like S3 URLs basically. So it's very straightforward. You can also, let's see, upload images. So let me log in here. That's me. If I used any of my other ones, it wouldn't work. Yeah, this is hosted in Mesh Forums. Get over it. If I want to upload it, go there, click that, and then I have that whole GitHub repository is downloaded to my computer. It took a very long time to download, but let's say I want 15,001. Sure. I do have gigabit, yeah, and it still took like 20 minutes. It's terrible. So, okay, let's say that I'm install number 15,001, uploading in a panorama, type that in, 15,001, bing, bong, boom. It'll think for a minute, and then it'll upload. And then you can go to this URL, and you can see your image. Isn't that splendid? And then I've also got dupe detection. So if you try to do this again, let's say, I take a hash of the image and store it in the database, and then it should yell at me. It's like thinking, it's like, these images are the same. Do you want to upload it anyway? You can do that, or you can cancel and go back and, you know, upload what you meant to upload. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of long and short. It will take it twice, and there should be two. Yep, and they're the same image. But yeah, that's Pano. I have been working on this on and off for the last, like, I don't know, since October, just like in my spare time that I don't have. Yeah, there's more. There's like more plans. So like I said, get a demo deployed in the next month for people to play with. Open it up for anybody, you know, with like a Google, you know, email to, you know, upload images and mess around with. I want to also like import all of the existing panoramas that we have so that people like have data to like play with. Write tests. This code is very rough right now. I will freely admit that. Then I want to deploy to production copy so that, like, you know, with proper authentication, maybe encryption, proper backups, you know, all that stuff. Get it ready for like actual production use. Import the existing panorama database again. Cut the map over use panel. I actually already have that working. I just haven't done it because Pano is not actually deployed, but the map does work with Pano now. And then roadmap after that is support install photos, you know, maybe other tags, you know, if you have like, you know, something that's not a panorama, but you want to upload it to Pano, allow you to do that. Private images, right? So right now Pano is like pretty much totally wide open because this data set is already totally wide open. So, you know, authentication is kind of secondary, but it would be cool if in the future we could host things that are like, we only want this to be visible to installers, right? This is a install specific thing that like maybe you don't want like everyone in the world to know about, but it's like you want, you know, an installer to see like, hey, there's a lock here. Here's how you nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Also integrate with Dustin's awesome computer vision projects for sure. This like projects is like basically just to support like a lot of the work that he's been doing. So I want to make that like possible and easy. And then also, like I said, the Slack crawler. If you have ideas, questions, comments, concerns after this talk, you know, you can hit me up right now, right here. I'm right here. But then also, Pano development is a Slack channel that exists. Talk about Pano development. And if you want to contribute, it's open source. Like I said, your name here. This could be you. There's a lot to do, as I've sort of outlined, that could be your name, and it would be really sick. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Any questions? I see one in the back over here. Can we get a mic?
The way you decide the equivalence between those images, is it just a hash, or is it some kind of computer vision unit to compare metadata in your network or anything?
So right now I'm just using the image magic library to just compute a hash of the image, and then if it's like a pixel for pixel, if the hash matches, it's like, hey, this is probably a duplicate. Computer vision is something that I defer to Dustin about. Yeah, it's very basic right now.
Would you want to expand it for like translational features of offline transformer features, or even maybe have a neural net to detect if they are the same, they are like capturing the same thing, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the sky is the limit, right? Like I'm mostly just like an infrastructure guy, so I'm just trying to build like a sane data model and API on which to host images, and then like whatever people want to do with those images, like, yeah, totally, I'm down.
Oh, yeah, thank you. It's just a technicality I wanted to ask.
You mentioned the idea of not using third party, but then use third party.
Yeah.
So
That is a great
it's self-hosted, but OAuth is external. Are sessions to that sticky, or is that a reach out every time that you go to log in? So like, is that only accessible if the internet is on?
Yeah, so sessions are sticky. Basically right now I use Google to authenticate a session, and then I store that session locally in the database, and then you get a cookie. And I've set it to some expiry, but yeah, for now, we are using Google Auth for the same reason that we chose to use Datadog a few months ago. It's like we are a handful of volunteers, do not get paid enough and do not have enough time to run an actually secure self-hosted authentication system. This has been and I'm going to be transparent about this. This has been a argument, like this has been a subject of discussion, intense discussion in the mesh for a long time of like self-hosted versus not self-hosted. And it's like, personally, I'm not an absolutist. I think that, which that is an absolutist statement, which is really funny. But anyway, it's like, I think that there is like a line, right? And it's like hosting and storing and serving these images, we can do, right? I'm very confident that we can do that because we have MeshDB, right? Authentication, I'm not a crypto guy. I don't know anything about security. I shouldn't even be working on web services. My specialization is in virtual reality and like graphics programming. What am I doing here? So I'm just like aware of my limits. And like one day, if we wanted to try to tackle that problem with maybe more expertise and more manpower, that'd be awesome. But for now, I feel more comfortable. I'm able to get more sleep at night, knowing that like it's Google's problem to like be secure.
You'll get more sleep at night because you don't have to do it. Yes.
That too. Yes. Double entendre there.
All right, you led into my second part for it. So data durability, if we're taking something that's externally hosted and maybe in more than one place, how are we storing that locally? Is that like a mirror in each supernode, or how durable is that data now that we're going to be storing it?
Yeah, so the short answer is that I have not totally figured it out yet. The long answer is that MinIO has replication abilities. So we could have an instance of MinIO at every site, right? And then we can have triple redundant backups of our S3 buckets, basically. Database, same thing, right? It's the same sort of durability story as with MeshDB, right? We have our primary database, and then we do like hourly backups to an S3 bucket, right? I think to start, probably the same sort of thing, right? And maybe for starters, we rely on the cloud for that as well, for our backups, just because, again, durability, we really don't want to screw this up. But then as we gain more confidence, we can examine and build other more like self-hosted solutions for that.
Cool, thanks. Anybody else? Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, I actually have no idea where on here this works. Okay, so regarding deduplication, you said hash, which is great. it would be also useful to have a model because sometimes people draw like sort of like near misses
Yeah.
of like whoever puts the red ink on, which I think is Olivier, or like
Yes.
sometimes people downscale and
There's some ink on this one.
yeah. I don't know why I called it ink, but sometimes people downscale the images as well. Also just for in case people were curious, there are currently 5,900 images, which weigh 15 gigs total.
Oh, okay, wow.
So having like a near miss thing for duplicates is would be useful because if someone updates the ink,
Yeah,
if it
for sure.
re-uploads it,
For sure.
near miss maybe like 99.2% of the pixels are the same or something.
Yeah.
Like that. The chatbot thing, the bot that looks at Slack, I'm really excited you said that because I have been thinking about that for like 2 weeks because there's one we tend to have, except for the DIY installs, we have like one channel per like major install. So as I was trying to think what to do about this, I thought of just like looking at specific channels and trying to compare like images to existing channel.
Yeah.
That every images gets put in a channel, just like the thing, which is really nice. And also what's relevant, the reason why the bot model works really well is when someone, like let's say someone adds an image to a channel, we can just then DM them back if it's missing context or something. But right now you do it through an email form or something else. But like if someone uploads an image and something's missing, do you email them back? Do you hope that they kept the tab open?
What do you
notify them that way?
What do you mean? Like when somebody uploads to Pano? Or
Yeah.
well, so Pano really all it has is this image belongs to this install number or this network number, mutually exclusive there.
Yeah.
And it was uploaded at this time. That's basically all the Pano stores right now.
Cool.
The data model is totally extensible.
All right.
And like if we have context that we decide that we want or need, yeah, I mean, we could set up a bot that would like DM somebody if they're like a volunteer, or send them an email.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I also understand. I don't know where this is yet, but I know that like there's, in addition to these sort of publicly visible Panos, there's a Dropbox or Google Drive somewhere with like also like in per install things.
Yeah.
This is what you're describing is not meant to like handle the pseudo private photos, right?
Not yet. That is something I want to tackle eventually.
Don't promise future work just yet. I just want to make sure it's only promising to do.
Yeah. So basically right now, the only problem this is trying to solve is to make it easier for people to upload explicitly public panoramas.
Okay, cool.
Upload and then query them. Yes. And then I think you said something earlier that I was gonna say something about. I had something, I was like working on something. I forget. With duplicate detection. I don't know, maybe we'll talk later.
Sure.
Sorry. There is pizza, so I'll take maybe 1 or 2 more questions if anybody has any.
No.
Got one more. Sweet.
If you need you said it's on GitHub somewhere. Like if you need help, I can help with it. I mean, it's my first time here, but
Absolutely.
like I know how to code CV stuff. If you need any help for any volunteering, just ask me after you're done.
Sweet. Yeah, totally. 100%. This is open source. The repo is right there. github.com/willnilges/pano. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk afterwards. Let's get hooked up on Slack. And I've got like a few loose issues. I need to like formalize all of my stuff because most of this lives in my head. But yeah, totally, for sure. All right, that's it. Thank you.